Softball SA acknowledges the land that we play on. The Softball SA Premier League is on Ghana land. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Ghana people to country, and we pay our respects to all their elders, past, present, and emerging. Hello and welcome to the conclusion of Indigenous round of the Softball SA CMAX Premier League, live from West Beach right here on beautiful Ghana land. It's round 15. It's a big game between the 4th place Glenelg Rebels and the 5th place Seacombe Tigers. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching from around the world. My name's Eric Balnar, the host of the best softball coverage in the country. And alongside me is the #1 color man in the country, James Harris. And for your Easton special comments is 5-time Premiership coach Anthony Weatherston. Fellas, it's a battle between 4th and 5th, but it really is that last opportunity for Seacombe to make that charge, to try to dip into that last spot of the finals. That's the spot that Glenelg hold on to.
Good evening, Eric. Gee, Anthony's good at these intros, isn't he? Absolutely. This game here could end Seacombe's mathematical chances of making the finals right here, right now, tonight. And I'm expecting a pretty tight game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good to see you back, Eric and James. Thanks for the drive-by. It's a difficult game too, because they've played multiple times this season so far, but the lineups are remarkably different.
Yeah, they are different, and maybe it's a good opportunity to go through them, because there's some key injuries on both sides that's been a bit of a patchwork that both of these clubs have had to go and delve into, looking into lower grades, looking into depth players, bringing some players back. That really is the storyline tonight. Let's start with Glenelg and take a look at their batting lineup, James.
Glenelg's batting lineup starts at the top with Sydney Horton, so she's been a regular, the international, and she's behind the dish tonight catching. But you know, right away in the 2 spot, we see Bree McGee. She was a regular A-grade starter from previous years, but has played more of a B-grade role this year.
Yeah, chose to take a step back this year, and obviously with some youth coming through, and obviously with her own personal work commitments. But she's been, drafted back in.
And maybe we'll rephrase it and look at Glenelg defensively here, not only just because Jay Peterson's warming up and pitching and that's their stalwart, but Bree McGee playing center field, moving in there, which brings Georgia Bevan, who's been playing outfield this whole time, over to 3rd base.
And probably hasn't played there since juniors, I would think.
Missing Gemma Cochran, Courtney Shepherd, and Caitlin Carroll, as well as
Tate Nicholson.
Their younger players, Tate Nicholson. Thanks, Anthony, for jumping in there.
I was trying to help you out.
There's a lot of missing players, but a lot of players with time to shine. Jade Peterson, well, she is as reliable as they come, but the first pitch swinging. It's Regan Diaz who rolls one all the way to the wall, and look at her fly around 2. She'll stand up at 3 with a triple, 1 pitch into the game.
Oh, she looks inspired, doesn't she, getting after that first pitch, goes all the way to the fence, and Sophie Walcott has to do the chasing of that one.
Yeah, there's a reason. Obviously, she's in the top 4 of hitters in the league, currently batting .462, and it's a great barometer for the Tigers.
She had to slow up going into 3rd. You don't often see that with a triple, that it's an easy stand-up.
Yeah. Great point you made there as well, Anthony. The only player outside the top 3 teams in the competition hitting +400.
Well, they'll move down the lineup. It's a lineup that has a lot of import talent in here, as well as some of the younger players. And Mutsy's one of them, and a diving catch already from Georgia Bevan. We were wondering how she'd play at 3rd. Well, there's your answer.
Quick as a whip off the mark. Here's the Eastern replay. She comes in, sees bunt, and makes a diving play in foul territory. Another angle here.
Yeah, if Georgia was worried about what the nerves are going to be like, she's got them out of the way early.
Brianne Lint batting 3, Becky Havas 4, Emily Erickson 5, Aroa Munro 6, Rosa Vigara 7, Lara Titmus 8, and Sigrid Schumacher is batting 9 to line up this Tiger lineup.
Yeah, Bree's batting over 300 for the Tigers, one of their top 3 hitters. Her numbers actually increase when she's got a runner in scoring position.
Getting players like Reagan Diaz, who stands at third on base, hasn't been the problem at the top of the lineup. It's this season for the Tigers bringing them home.
Yeah, just the 51 runs for the season for Seacombe. It's the third lowest in the competition, so the on bases haven't been the problem, Eric, as you said, but bringing them in. But here's Lynn, as Anthony said, great average with runners in scoring position.
Jade Peterson tries to find and nibble the edges. That one just sails a little wide for a 2-2 count.
I'll even say her numbers are better this year than they were last year as well.
Yeah, leads the team in RBIs. She's definitely improved from last year, so.
Well, she's worked the count full. A fly ball deep enough should score the first run of the game. It'll be a walk, so it'll be a 1-3 split to start the offensive attack for Seacombe here.
It'd be interesting to see what happens if they get an out with this batter, Glenelg, because the pitcher and the catcher are on base at the moment. We could see two speed-up runners at the same time.
Becky Havas batting 281.
She was that breakout star in the competition last year, and she's consolidated with a fairly consistent average. Maybe not the same power that we saw last year, but she still gets on base. Deserved spot in the middle of that lineup. And she swings at a pitch down low, trying to get Diaz off the bag. Horton zipped it in there. You saw that pitch just drop off at the last second from Jade Peterson, who is flirting around the strike zone rather than going right.
Yeah, CMAX replay down and in, so good cover from Havas. And a nice play from Horton as well. Catcher taking it down low and inside. Would never have had a chance throwing that runner out at 2. Gee, Bill better be careful here. Those old bones aren't as strong as they used to be.
Well, that's why he's coaching the Open Men's team at the Nationals next month, James, and thankfully not playing in it.
CMAX replay of Becky Havas just drills her coach.
Needs a glove. And a strikeout for Jade Peterson. You know she likes to fill up the zone, and that just caught the inside edge of the plate. And it's 2 outs, but still 2 on.
Sitting second in the competition in strikeouts, Jade Peterson. We knew that it would be coming at some stage tonight. Here's the CMAX replay. That's right over the middle of the plate.
But if anybody can hit the fence and put the ball over, it's the Swedish import Emily Egerson. She's got a massive swing on her. Hits the ball very hard.
Her mum and sister are visiting currently at the moment from Sweden, and met them earlier tonight in the batting cages.
And Ericsson's grooving a little bit right now. Had that walk-off knock just a couple games ago for the Tigers.
She had a big home run in a B-grade game as well.
Massive.
In a curtain raiser game.
Just got beaten on a change-up there. You'd expect that against somebody with a power hitter, runners in scoring position. Goes again.
Knocks to the right side. It'll score the first run of the game. It'll score 2 as it's bobbled in the outfield. Meanwhile, Erickson is hustling around 2, pushing for 3. There won't be a play. It's 2 RBIs and a lead for Seacombe.
Second triple of the inning for the Tigers. This one scores 2 runs. Here's the CMAX replay. She'll be happy.
That's her first triple in the Premier League, but definitely not her first triple at ASA. She's been batting up a storm in the B grade, and you can see that's why she's in that number 5 spot. The clean-up hitter doesn't get it done. She's there to back it up.
I like that it went opposite field as well, behind the runners.
Off-speed pitch too.
2 triples and a walk equals 2 runs for the Tigers, who need to win to keep their mathematical hopes alive of sneaking into the top 4. And you just never know in the Premier League. Glenelg with a whole heap of injuries right now. They only have 3 games after this, but they're just trying to keep their head above water at the second. We'll get to their lineup when they bat. Meanwhile, Arrow and Munro Down that lineup in the 6th spot.
We don't want to say they're going to limp to the line here, but they've got a really good chance of securing a top 4 spot and expect to see some of those big names come back for finals, including Johanna Grauer.
And a swing and a miss. Jade Peterson gets the strikeout, but the Tigers strike. They score a pair, and they have an early 2-0 lead. Here's a look at the CMAX replay of that Jade Peterson strikeout.
Second of the inning, went up the ladder, and Araha Munro couldn't catch up. Just on those strikeout numbers for the competition, just one pitcher leads Jade Peterson with 100 strikeouts on the season. Elizabeth Engler from Port Adelaide. Jade Peterson 85. Daylight after that, 61 strikeouts for Reagan Diaz.
Death Taxes and Jade Peterson being in the top 2 of strikeouts in the CMAX Premier League. James, let's take a look at the defensive lineup for the Seacombe Tigers.
Well, that player right there, Reagan Diaz, pitching to Bree Lynn, Araho Munro at first base, Rosa Vergara at second, Becky Havas at third, Sasha Mutzi at shortstop, and Emily Erickson left. Lara Tipnis at centre, and Sigrid Schumacher at right field. You'd almost say it's a settled lineup compared to Glenelg's.
Well, they're certainly a lot healthier right now, but they have...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to have to shuffle it around, it's just going to be interesting to see. Glenelg have struggled early in games offensively, but they've just developed this ability this year just to stay close, stay in it, and they've rolled a lot of teams in the end of games. They've had a couple of walk-offs. So
you saw that not so long ago in a great clash versus Port Adelaide. Yo Grauer versus her former team. She scored a run in that final inning, but it was a walk-off in that game, a game that they were down 2-0, came back tied at 2-2, went down 3-2, came back and won 4-3. And that sort of describes the Glenelg season. Is they've got knocked down and knocked back a few times, but they've done enough to hold themselves in games. Sydney Horton leading things off. She's been a big part of that.
Can genuinely hit both sides of the plate. So we see her here leading off in the right-hand spot, but depending on the situation later in the game, could bat on the left side.
Yeah, we saw in the first couple of games that she'd go right, left throughout the game.
This flared over towards the right side of the diamond, and it drops in front of Rosa Vergara, and it is a lead-off hit for Sydney Horton.
Yeah, got a bit lucky there. I think the wind sort of held it up a little bit, made it hard to read. Vergara pushed back thinking that it might go deep, but then that wind, as I said, held it up and kept it in fair territory.
Bree McGee back in the lineup.
And trying to just advance the run there. As we said before in the pre-game, yeah, obviously had taken a step back this year, but Coach Brinkworth has had to call on one of her trusted soldiers to come back and fill the breach. And, you know, let off a lot, so she's got a really good eye for her zone. Great team, club person.
The ball slips away. It'll advance the runner to second, and already Glenelg halfway to issuing that response as a runner on 2.
Yeah, CMAX replay just gets up and out of reach for Lynn. Horton turns 2. I think Horton heard someone behind her. Who?
I'm sure she's never heard that one before. Bunted straight up in the air. That almost happened with the 2-batter in the first inning. It was a diving catch from Georgia Bevan. It was almost monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, well, this game has a habit of doing it, doesn't it? It's a simple game when you think about it. Get a runner on, advance it.
Put him on, move him over, bring her home. Swing and a miss on a pitch down low from Diaz, and it is 1 down.
Yeah, good pitching by Reagan Diaz there. You saw that obviously the foul off and so on had been on the right side. Bree was just struggling to catch up to the pace, and then a well-called change-up by catcher Bree Lynn.
Georgia Bevan, who's returned to the Rebels full-time this year. Has played in, how many games, Weathers, are we looking at? A lot of them. All of them?
17 of them, so yes, you would suggest so.
Yeah, 17. There was a couple of rainouts as well.
Yeah.
So they have, they say they got 20 games played, but 3 of them are draw. Actually, they did draw the first round, so
First
17
year,
out of 19.
yeah, first year back, batting 216.
And
But had been a staple in the outfield.
big time staple in the outfield, big defensive star. And probably more than that, you talk to some players on the Rebels about what Georgia Bevan's brought to that team. I don't think it's a coincidence that the Rebels have sort of returned to finals level softball at the same time that Georgia Bevan has said, I'll play full time in the A grade.
She would have been there the last time that they were winning trophies, so absolutely. Obviously the younger sister of Glenelg legend Heidi Bevan.
And a former AFLW player herself.
Premiership player.
Georgia Bevan.
She buckled on that change-up, didn't she?
Glenelg have gone through a rough patch over the last few years. One year they didn't even have a team in that top side of the CMAX Premier League, but they're poised to make the finals this season.
It's a good point you make in the sense that, like, Seacombe themselves had also had a year out, and it's taken, Glenelg a few years to get back to that level, and the Tigers have also improved this year. So promising things to come from both sides.
Grounded over towards first, scooped up by Monroe, and she'll step on the bag. They advance the runner to third, but there's 2 outs on the board.
Yeah, hit his 4 and 5 due up with the 2 out, runner on 3. Good chance for Glenelg to at least get one of these runs back, but Seacombe looked pretty tight in defence. That play looked good from Munro. She had to come off the line first, read the spin of it a little bit, and then made a good play.
Well, how often do you see these games decided on what you do with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs?
Sasha Penglaze is definitely somebody who's been a good hitter for the Rebels.
Has to bat in that 4 spot with quite a few players out of the lineup.
Yeah, it's normally been in 6 and 7, but obviously when you've got the likes of Grauer and Cochrane and Shepherd in the lineup, it changes the dynamic.
What this does, though, for Glenelg, heading into potential finals, they still have to get there. Seacombe, if they win and then win out, they can still take that last spot from Glenelg. But it gives a good opportunity for Coach Brinkworth to take a look at her depth that she's got in her club. There's going to be some important finals decisions and finals lineups looming. And, I mean, you two players, you two both, you've been there as a coach, you've been there as a player, you've been both around some winning formulas. Does that play a factor late in the season to get a good look at what you have in the stocks to make those final lineup decisions? And a big strikeout for Reagan Diaz. Strands the runner at 3 after giving up that leadoff hit. They'll hold that 2-0 lead, but I want to keep that conversation going there. Does it give you an opportunity to take a look at the depth?
Yeah, absolutely it does. I mean, there's obviously a couple of theories there. I mean, I was lucky enough to have Linda Martin teach me in regards to coaching, and she said, you'd never win anything in October and November and December. You always only win it in March, so that's the time to matter. So obviously everything you're doing is building up to then. So,
well, as a teammate, you want to have confidence in your team going into finals as well. So knowing that if a player has to be called up, that they don't buckle under pressure, that they can handle the speed of the Premier League, and this gives them a perfect opportunity to try that.
Yeah, and so one of the ways that you would normally do that if your side was full strength, you'd be bringing them in for important at-bats throughout games against pitches that you were likely going to face in finals.
Just quickly, over on Diamond 2, thanks to MC Sportswear, West Torrens are playing Hills Heat tonight. West Torrens leading 2-0. Hits to Harris, Baskai and Trzynski, and Trzynski has 6 strikeouts. No hits for the Heat.
Pretty good start from Steph Trzynski then.
Yeah, mate. I think she's pitched 5 games, and she is the league leader in ERA and strikeouts per game.
A welcome return for that West Torrens club.
Do you think she heard James before when he said it's Engler, Peterson, and then it's daylight, and then Trzynski's heard that over the airwaves, and all of a sudden she's on a tear?
She doesn't have a lot of games to catch them, but she also strikes out a lot of batters. Rosa Vergara leading things off. Nice little sunset here. And softball SA, and the sun sets on the at-bat for Rosa Vergara. It's a strikeout for Jade Peterson, her third of the day. And Jade Peterson climbs that strikeout leaderboard.
Yeah, Steph Trzynski, just quickly touching on that 13.2 strikeouts per game she's averaging. Grauer 11.67. The next one is 9.99, which is Peterson.
It's a heavy pace.
Lara Titmus, the second half of the Swedish connection from overseas, who's been a revelation for the Tigers in centre field. Great range, super fast, and obviously can play the short game at a very high level, but has also cleared her hands and hit some long balls as well.
A rare lefty in this competition as well.
Yeah, genuine speed.
Peterson really starting to try to fight that strike zone. She finds a strike there. And a pitch down low. Peterson already with a rare walk back in the first inning. 2 triples she gave up, 1 to DS, 1 to Erickson. The DS one was smashed. Emily Erickson's was opposite field, that just sort of had eyes between second base and right field, more so than anything.
Titmus has been really watchful in this at-bat. Jade's, both of her strikes have been opposite sides of the plate, so Titmus has now got the range. It's now whether or not she's caught up to the pace.
Swings that one upstairs. Jade Peterson grooving with her 4th strikeout.
Yeah, it's good work. I mean, that's why we all know what Jade's capable of at this level, so still delivering.
Well, she's got them chasing high and she's got them chasing low in the sequence of her last 3 batters faced. Monroe, Vergara, and Titmus all down on strikes. And a wild wave from Sigrid Schumacher.
Yeah, Peterson, besides Georgia Bevan's diving catch in foul territory, has retired 4 of the last 5 batters.
All by the strikeout.
All by strikeout.
And as rare as you say it was to see a left-hander in the league, Eric, we've got 2 left-handers back-to-back, which is even rarer. So,
and 2 strikes on her, though. Peterson looking for her 4th in a row, and she gets it. Jade Peterson strikes out the side. 2 swinging, 1 looking. Gets a big hold, and Glenelg will go to the bottom of the second down by 2.
There's a CMAX replay, hits the edge. Sydney Horton knew it as soon as it hit the glove, and Peterson, maybe she even heard me mention the strikeout count, because she's in a real hurry. She's moved into 90 strikeouts for the season.
Yeah, and just as you can see now online as well, we've got thousands and thousands of people watching around the world. Can happily share a little bit of breaking news for upcoming Saturday. Round 16, obviously the CFS round. Special guest commentator currently watching on the tube at the moment, along with us. Port Adelaide's superstar Jessica Maslin will be joining us on the commentary, along with Erin Adams-McDonald from the Hills. So looking forward to Saturday immensely.
Oh, the round 16 actually starts Friday night, this Friday night at Nembo Park, and it's a double header that the Hills bring us each year for their home game that they play. Glenelg, of course, will be their opposition, so they play 2 games in 3 nights, but can't wait for that, but also can't wait for your special guest commentator Saturday.
No, very much looking forward to it. She's a superstar of the competition, so premiership player, and so we'll have the experience and the experience of Jess, and we'll have the youthful charisma of Erin. What a mix. And then me, so just to level it out.
Sophie Kinnear leads things off, working her way back into this Glenelg lineup and already thrust into the 5-hole here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been batting lower in the lineup again, as we keep on saying, promoted because she's had to be. So playing shortstop this season.
She looked angry as she was swinging. I think she knew that it was out of her zone.
Yeah, but the up ball seems to be working tonight for both pitchers. So
a bloop single and then 3 retired in a row for Reagan Diaz. That was in her first inning. And she starts off the second with a strikeout.
A lot of blue on the scorecard to start tonight. Blue for those scoring at home is your strikeout colour.
Well, the last 5 outs of this game have all been strikeouts now, and 7 of the last 8 outs overall in the game have been strikeouts.
Yeah, good numbers for the pitchers. This is a name, a blast from the past, Anthony.
yeah, ex-state player, ex-A-grade player Lucy Chappelle, having her 3rd at-bat in the Premier League for this season. Probably not something that she imagined would be happening at the start of the season. Plays regularly in the some of the other grades at the Rebels. So good to see her on TV. So always a very smooth operator when she played. Great skills, great team person.
Oh, after this pitch, the name rings a bell. Sassy Invaders or the Raiders team, the fast pitch league.
Yeah, Harlequins even maybe. So yeah, no, I think it was the Invaders. So
well, there you go. Great to see big names back playing in the Premier League when needed.
Gets a piece of one and fouls it straight back.
So does that mean that Kylie will make a comeback?
Well, I mean, I would suggest probably behind Diaz, Munro, Eriksson, there's probably a little bit to go. But I'm sure if she was called upon, she'd happily run out there and give it a go. She's still throwing pretty hard in the bees.
I think she's still got it.
Yeah.
I mean, the
funny story about that, she hit a long ball, well, not really, on the weekend, and Lucy was so excited about the shot and her running it out, betting it first. She tripped over a softball bag and did her ankle.
Watching.
And another strikeout, make it 3 in a row for Diaz. That's her first one looking, though. Just gets her up and in.
Yeah, Lucy turned back on that one. I don't think she thought that, but never leave it to...
Yeah, looked pretty close on the CMAX replay.
Yeah.
Jade Peterson trying to break up this string of strikeouts from both of the pitchers. Both these two women combined to strike out the last 6 batters who have come to plate in this game.
Yeah, we know Jade can always cause some trouble with the bat. Pitcher versus pitcher duel.
A veteran as well. I think she's improved her batting over the years, and no doubt got something to do with the thing in her hand as well, the Eastern Advanced. The hottest back on the market. Actually, they released the 2024 model on the 1st of February, Eastern.
Grounded up the middle. We have a ball in play. Diaz. Well, she didn't strike her out, but she still takes it herself to retire the side in order. It is an evening for the pitchers right now, fellas.
That's a good shout out, James, about the Eastern being released the 2024 in February, because obviously it's just in time for finals. So it's good work by Eastern, right time.
Yeah, the Eastern hype machine made some nice socials on the new bat and the release of the bat, and our good friends at Eastern as well. You know, not a bad reminder to get down to MC Sportswear and check out the Eastern range that they have there. Support those that support softball in South Australia.
So if you want to get hot for the finals, you need a few games to work the bat in. What's that sweet spot? I don't know.
Perfect time.
8 to 12 at-bats, get in there, a little bit in the cages, have that bat nice broken in for finals time in March.
Well, my guy at Eastern, Jason Gibson, has assured me that it's the hottest ghost bat that they've made as well, the new one.
The hottest ghost bat.
Well, you know what they say about the hot bats, right? They're loaded to the gills, and they're great, good to go out the wrapper, and no one can deny that the Ghost hasn't been an unbelievable weapon for you know, the
Game
likes
changer.
of Belinda White, of course. Uses the Ghost every at-bat.
Yeah, it's been a game changer, no doubt, and it didn't take long for the word to get out, and you see him everywhere now.
Here's Regan Diaz. She led the game off with a triple on the first pitch she saw. A bit more of a patient approach here. She's been dynamite in this circle her first time through the lineup. Well, not even through the first time through. Just allowing the one base runner with the triple and then scoring herself. The game ended now. She'd have a few votes, but the game doesn't end now. We've still got another hour to play, and a lot can happen.
Yeah, she would be definitely CMAX Clinical Player of the Day at the moment.
Peterson not far behind her, and she grooves one there as well to go ahead of the count.
So the one thing that's noticeable tonight about watching both these teams is that they're both going into accounts deep, which is not traditionally their MO.
Off to the right side of the field, into the glove of Sasha Penglaze. That breaks up a run of 4 straight strikeouts, still an out nonetheless.
Which obviously then goes on to suggest the importance of this game. You just see here as Diaz goes out to Penglaze, takes the ball in front of her face, which obviously shows that, yeah, it is that time of the year and points do matter at this time.
That was good hands from Diaz. It was an off-pace pitch, and she was able to hold him back long enough, driver opposite field, but well taken at right field.
After saying that people have been, you know, sitting deep in counts, Woodsy swings at a high pitch way outside, first pitch. I'll just bench my special comments from here on out.
You got the thumbs up from Brandon.
And another wave and a miss from Woodsy.
Well, the scouting report on Jade was always that you've got to attack her early in the count, because the reality is if she gets in front of the count, you're in all sorts of trouble. Which is why it was unusual to see a watchful Seacombe. That being said, they've got a 2-0 lead, so it's worked so far. So
You think, though, I mean, Regan Diaz swung on the first pitch that she saw for the triple back in the first inning, and then Emily Erickson on a 1-1 count had a triple to the wall as well.
speaking of power hitters, James, Sugar Crawford, back in her day, never used an Eastern Ghost in her life, but I tell you what, she uses the Eastern Stealth, and she claims that don't let that one get by.
Lucky that was in the Eastern family, otherwise you would have been benched for good, I reckon. But I saw her swing the bat when Diamond One used to have to hit straight into that wind.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the hardest diamond to put them out on.
I've seen her hit home
She
runs.
won the inaugural home run derby.
I've seen her hit home runs with lesser hardware, shall we say.
We have been doing that 13 years now, the MC Sportswear Home Run Derby at the state championships, and she won the first one, the first year.
Grounded back to Peterson. 2 down. Good home run derby this year.
Oh, yeah. Troy Harrison, the biggest man you'll ever meet in your life.
Steady.
And then Regan Diaz won the women's division. It was, and she didn't hit the 200-foot cone. She hit them out of this ballpark.
I talked to Troy the day after that bomb fest, and all he could say is he wished he had a swing like Regan's.
Oh, man. There was 3 guys that hit the light tower 2/3 of the way up out at left field. I thought it was going to fall down.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was not a safe place to be behind that left field, center field wall. Couple dents in the dog club roof.
Yeah, we got a complaint from the Adelaide airport as well. From
A ball rolling
Yeah.
up as Virgin Flight 149 to Melbourne was trying to take off. Lint straight up in the air. That one drifts foul as well. It's two strikes on her. Well, Peterson has retired the last 6 in a row since giving up the Emily Erickson triple, which plated the only 2 runs of the game.
Yeah.
Offensive opportunities have been not even few and far between, just nothing.
Yeah, rare walk as well in this game, and from Jade Peterson, the only one of the game so far.
Right to Sophie Kinnear. Well, no strikeouts this inning, but it's still a 1-2-3 inning for Jade Peterson. 7 sat down in a row.
Since the 2 RBIs.
Yeah, she's starting to feel pretty good out there, Jade Peterson. But Regan Diaz, well, doing her one better. She's sat down 6 in a row since giving up a leadoff single that probably shouldn't have been a single, to be honest. That just sort of got caught up in the wind. So Diaz is grooving as well. It's a pitcher's duel here on Diamond 1.
Absolutely, with a game that means plenty for both clubs. So,
what do you do to disrupt a pitcher when they're in a rhythm from a batting standpoint? Is there any little tricks of the trade you can do, whether it be take longer to walk up to the batter's box, or what do you do?
Yeah, take an unnecessary time out, step away.
There's time-saving rules in place, though, now as well, because of their either time games or, even the BSC rules for catcher and pitcher speed-up runners. But, pitchers, when they get in a groove, the only way to break it is hitting them up the middle.
Yeah, and so a lot of the times you'll see people just, what seems like they just seem to swing harder because they're trying harder. And my theory back with the state men's back in the day, it was the 80-20 rule, which was basically just take 20% out of your swing for the team and just focus on contact and put the ball in the play, because some of the people that were thrown at you were just, lights out. And so contact was the key. There's no point just sitting there just watching the ball go over or swinging and missing. It's you've just got to lay bat and ball and force the field to come in and play.
Put some pressure. This is a game of pressure, isn't it? As Sophie Walkup swings through the first pitch from Regan Diaz.
Batter 8 in the order for the Rebels.
This is only game 6 for Sophie this season, so she's only had the 8 plate appearances. So,
due to injuries, necessary changes, unavailability as well, that their playing numbers might be up there as well. Not as high as the Heels. I think they've had an unbelievable amount of players play for them this year, maybe 20 or more.
We'll take a look at the bench today for
26.
Glenelg. If you take a look at some of the injury requirements they've had, Nat Brinkworth listed as a bench player today.
I saw her walking down to Diamond 2 on Saturday afternoon in full uniform. So, the injury curse is real for there. So it's just a really matter of time. Hopefully they can get them back. So,
and a swing and a miss. Regan Diaz make it strikeout number 5 on the day, and we're only here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah. CMAX replay here of that strikeout. Wouldn't be the first coach to take the diamond this season. No. Anthony, Belinda Stansfield for Walkerville's played.
Yeah, she was in uniform as well, yeah.
Regan Diaz has a bit of pep in her step right now.
Yeah, I said it after a triple. She's playing inspired tonight. Like, it's something about her tonight. She looks more focused than normal. Like, she's just got no emotion on her face, and she's just going about her business. Hit that triple. She moved and legged around the diamond to stand up at 3 as well. Didn't even, as you mentioned, she had to slow down turning second.
She looks relaxed all at the same time.
Yeah, the noticeable thing from watching her 3 or 4 times live this season is the break on the ball. I haven't seen her break the ball as much as this, especially that down pitch.
This is Charlotte Fairley. And Anthony, you might recognise the surname, daughter of Scott Fairley.
Yeah, I saw Scott before the game and, caught up there. So lucky enough to coach him and his brother back in the day. Hasn't changed one bit from the person that I remember coaching 20 years ago. He's exactly the same.
Very nice person as well.
He's any opportunity he can help out in the bar and the canteen, he's first there. So.
And that's not easy for me to say. No, just kidding. Fairley Shuex up at Blackwood and Mount Barker.
Still plays up there?
Yeah, still plays for the Hahndorf Magpies. They actually play this Friday night in the curtain raiser of the Hills Heat Glenelg game for CFS round against the Macclesfield Redbacks. Sam Flynn.
Well, it's a walk for Charlotte Fairley, so she'll get aboard. It's the first base runner that the Rebels have had since Sydney Horton led off the game with a single to right field. So it breaks up a run, gets a second look now here. What adjustments, if you're a Glenelg batter coaching Glenelg right now, what are you telling your batters saying as they're walking up a second time through?
Wouldn't change too much for Horton, I don't think. She ought to hit to lead off for them.
Follow the two-game rookie. Follow her example.
Go deep into counts, take some pitches.
The under-16s player showing them all how to get it done.
Yeah, Horton staying on the right side here. You would have thought that maybe there would have been an opportunity for her to bat on the left side, work to advance that runner. Still early in the game. You've got McGee and then Pengays to follow, so hopefully bat that runner in. But Coach Brinkworth going with the stick at the moment.
Well, for the first time today, Diaz is battling a little bit. She had that walk, then started 2 straight balls to Sydney Horton. Even the hit that Horton had, I mean, he just got kind of caught up in the wind and dropped in front of Rosa Viguera at second. This is the first little bit of challenge that Diaz has had in the game, and usually comes quicker for any pitcher than the third inning, testament to how well she's been pitching.
Yeah, she's really battling, and just after we were praising her, now she's behind the count to Horton and started the inning out perfectly with a strikeout, off-speed pitch, and then all of a sudden we've done it. We talked her up and she can't throw a strike.
3 balls and a strike on Sydney Horton. And the Rebels get the tying run on base. Smash to right field. It drops in front of Schumacher. Advances the runner to second. And the Rebels have something cooking here in the third.
Yeah, great piece of batting by Horton there. Just waited on the pitch, went with it on the outside. Wind sort of probably held it up a bit just in front of Schumacher. But Coach Brinkworth knows their players. She knew not to sacrifice at that stage. She felt that Horton could do that, and she's delivered.
Yeah, 2 on with 1 out. We're up to batter number 2 in the order, second time through.
Bree McGee.
Good eye for a zone breeze, so she's going to have to put something in the hitting zone if you're going to get Bree McGee to have a go.
It's one of those circle your scorecard moments here in the bottom of the third. Rebels have suddenly generated 2 base runners. Over towards short. Mutzi gets the leadoff runner at 3, and wisely Becky Havis just holds fire. They'll take the 1 out, and they won't force any potential for mistakes.
Yeah, nice play from Mutzi at shortstop. The ball, here's the CMAX replay, stayed pretty low. She kept her glove on the deck and forced out the lead runner at third. So nothing changes for the Rebels except they've got an extra out. Here's Georgia Bevan.
I like it. It just allows you to trust your pitcher, who's been working well throughout most of this game. That ball slips away. Runner advances to 3, but if you throw that ball and a mistake happens, this ball game is now all of a sudden a 2-1 game and more pressure.
Charlotte Fairley went, here's the Eastern replay of that pass ball. Charlotte Fairley went back to run for Sydney Horton in a catch a speed up, and she took full toll of that fumble there from Lint, but Bree McGee didn't.
Strike. Thrown to Georgia Bevan.
Yeah, one of those things as a pitcher, if you are going well, sometimes you can sort of go work a little too hard. You know, you start pushing your edges out and you try and make it harder for the hitters and sometimes lose a bit of that control. I reckon she's gone through probably about 5 minutes of that, just maybe trying a little bit too hard on those edges, and the catcher Bree Lint's done a great job of just bringing her back to the zone. Yes, it can expose you to the shot, which Horton came up with, but it can also give you a ground out like Mutzi just came up with.
Good swing just to stay alive for Georgia Bevan, just defending that pitch that was cutting in.
Yeah, Anthony went to say it earlier in the day, don't leave it in the hands of the umpires, and she goes to a 2-2 count. Big pitch right here.
In the dirt, good block by Breland. Count goes full. The first bit of pressure Glenelg's had today with the bat. Well, that pressure has just crept up a couple notches. The bases are loaded, and the number 4 hitter, Sasha Penglaze, comes up.
Yeah, if Glenelg wanted a contact hitter at the plate, this is who they want. So they've got their wish, 2 out, so the runners will be nice and aggressive. They won't have to worry about tagging and so on. So this will be a very big play in the scope of this game.
Diaz just trying to relax a little bit.
Traditionally goes to the right side, Sasha, up the middle and right.
Base hit could tie it. Fairley in for Horton at 3, Bree McGee at 2. And a strike thrown from Regan Diaz that helps set her up a little bit better the rest of this at-bat.
That's similar to the pitch that struck her out the first time up to bat.
She's in a good spot now, Diaz.
The trick here, though, at 2-0 is most pitchers are just going to take the ball right away from the zone and just sort of wait for the hitter to make a mistake. But the elite pitchers, sometimes they get right after it, get it close, get it done.
Nice pitch, just missed, but even better eye from Penglaze.
Yeah. Mindset's definitely got to be contact batting right here. Create some chaos.
Chaos created. 1 run is scored. They're going to try to send a second. This game is tied.
Penglaze brings 2 runs in with her shot out to left field. I think Eriksson may have overrun it there, Anthony.
Yeah, she didn't get all of it. It was high on the bat, and so that's probably actually worked against Emily out there and worked in Sasha's favour as it fell in between the two. And Emily being a tall athlete at left field, had to get down low, and she's got a really good arm, but McGee's got some wheels. And the Rebels, as they do, they just keep chipping away. They don't go away.
Timeout's been called here. Seacombe just having a bit of a chat. Coach Bretta Dixon's out there. The Glenelg team have converged over there at third base coach's box, but that's clutch hitting from Sasha Penglaze. She's down in the count 0-2 with loaded bases, and you're trailing. Diaz has thrown a gem of a game so far, and she struck out her first time up to bat, and she's just come up clutch for her team. Then.
Yeah, 100%.
When you think about who started this all, and it was that walk that Charlotte Fairley, the under-16s player, had, got herself on base. And now Sasha Penglaze, who normally hits a bit lower in the lineup, a very good contact hitter, but with a few stars missing, she's been asked to say, hey, you're batting cleanup today, and she does exactly what a cleanup hitter needs to do, and that's cash in some runs. It's next woman up for the Glenelg Rebels, sort of how it's been all season long.
Wow.
And both teams now have a clutch 2-out hit, which has cashed in both their runs.
Kinnear sitting deep in the box here, and she's been caught in her first at-bat and this one so far, swinging at the fast, high pitch. Needs to make an adjustment, put this ball in the play, give the runners a chance.
Diaz gets her chase in, brings her to 2 strikes. Glenelg trying to turn a good inning into a great inning. The halfway point of this game. Ball slips away. It could be costly. It is expensive. It's a 3-2 lead for Glenelg. They capitalize on the mistake, and it is a big ol' inning for the Rebels.
Georgia Bevan's speed, then she crossed the plate easily, uncontested in the end, but she got that walk again with the 2 out to load the bases up, but then she took 2 bases on the hit to left field as well. So she just provides that extra little bit of defensive pressure for the Tigers.
And this is what happens, like, as the game progresses. Obviously, pitcher, once you've seen her a few times, you get a little bit more comfortable, get used to the action, used to the pace. And so Glenelg been playing the patient game here, starting to give them some results.
Well, the last 6 batters in the lineup have reached. 1 was on a fielder's choice, I get that, but 2 walks, a double, a single, 3 walks even. And free bases usually come back to bite you, and you have that wild pitch, and now Chappelle puts one in the air, and there's a bit of chaos on the base pass. I think there's some interference, and rightfully called out, but it will end the threat. 3 runs scored from Glenelg in the bottom of the 3rd.
Here's the CMAX replay from Chappelle. It goes up to Vergara at second base, and Sophie Kinnear wanted to keep her line, but she did need to make way, so that's why the interference was called. And Kevin Tannenbring, that was very clearly spoken. It's like he's like a bionic man tonight, isn't it, Kevin Tannenbring?
Yeah, he could be. He might have had an upgrade. Message for you, James, just through our socials with the thousands that are watching from around the world. Pete Fairley just wanted to shout out the catch from the 2018 grand final between Harndorf and Red Sox. He just wanted to let you know that if you don't want to talk about it, Scott will have a chat to you about it on Friday.
I'll tell you, Eric, you called the game. It was Harndorf beat the Red Sox in the grand final.
I remember.
Scott
That
Fairley
was
went 4 for 4 that night. He played right field.
The major league moment.
Major league finish of the game, right? Yeah. It's got like 50,000 views on the Spacequake Facebook page. But Scott Fairley did a 360, and then he turned the opposite way around, anti-clockwise 360, and then took a catch in foul territory. Basically saved the game.
Becky Havis up to bat. Now, they're up in the hills. I mean, you're going up to the hills on Friday.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not watching on the live stream, thanks to CMAX, where's the best place to watch at that ballpark? It's got to be like that left center field, right? Get a barbecue going back there. Where do the Maniacs hang out?
Yeah. Center left. They'll be there in the backs of their utes and watching it and cheering as well.
I reckon that's got to be one of the most Aussie experiences you could have, is just pull up a ute to the back of a sports field, go to the community barbecue, get a feed, cheer on your mates, heckle your mates, to everything in between. It'll be a good atmosphere up there on the weekend.
Yeah, can't wait. The 3rd time Hills have hosted the 2nd CFS round, and they've pulled out all the stops. The minister's coming, the CEO for the emergency services coming, the mayor of Mount Barker's coming along. Anthony's going to be working the bar.
I am. Yep.
Swing and a miss. Havis sat down.
Any event organised by Joe Liddell's going to be off the chain. I don't know if they've got all types of food options up there and some drink options. Hoping to get a couple of guest bartenders in there with me as well. But obviously we've got some big commentators. Pete Williams will be roving the field with the mic. The drone will be above the ground, so
the drone's getting rolled out.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, David Muggleton's making a special guest appearance to fly the drone.
Emily Erickson, last time we saw her, she had a triple to right field. It scored the 2 runs that you see on the scoreboard for Seacombe, but since then, everybody has been out. 4 strikeouts, 5 strikeouts even, and 3 outs, 2 flyouts, ground out for Jade Peterson. She's been rolling ever since that moment with 8 sat down in order, and she's trying to make it 9. There it is. Through the lineup, Jade Peterson.
Same pitch 3 times in a row, so Jade getting very much into her groove now and putting the clamps down, and now she's got a run lead to play with. She can start to be a bit more aggressive at the plate too. So
it's probably been the story of Glenelg's season. Is, you know, we talked about that resiliency this group has shown as Munro flares it off foul. There's a lot of resiliency. They hang in games tough, and they wait for that moment to pounce, and then they take advantage of either miscues from the opposition or their backs of their own hitting. Now, none of that would be possible if it weren't for some stellar pitching efforts from Jade Peterson when she's been in the circle, and also Joanna Grauer. There's been some bulldog efforts from both of them this year. As you know, Glenelg fall down 2-0. Don't worry, we'll hold you in the game just long enough for you to strike.
Look, I'm a big fan of Brianna Marcelino from Port Adelaide. I sort of think she's been that recruit of the year, the newest player in the Premier League who's just lights out. But Yo Grauer's probably got to be recruit of the year for Glenelg Rebels. I mean, that's just a massive... They've got 2 first-choice pitchers that they can work in tandem. Obviously, Grauer also brings hitting as well, so...
Well, what they've done, Glenelg, this year in their big recruits is they've brought in 2 players that know how to win whatever level or whatever sport they've been playing in. Obviously, the recruit of Yo Grauer is a big one, but a swing and a miss. Strikes out the side once again, the second time she's done that today. Yo Grauer feeling good. But they also brought in Georgia Bevan.
Yep.
Back. So you have 2 players that have come back in, those 2/9 of an equation when you roll it out there, and winning is contagious, and there was a lot of pieces there in Glenelg, and now they have a couple players that can show those pieces how to move correctly, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and you know, it'd be frightening to think if they had their other 5 starters in their lineup currently at the moment. But you know, Glenelg hasn't been mercying sides week in and week out. But the difference is that they've been just competitive the entire time of the year. They've rarely had a game where they've sort of been blown out under any circumstance. So, you know, and that's the build of Coach Brinkworth and what she's done. And you talk about the adding of the pieces. So
they looked out of it at the start of the game. Diaz was dialed in, and they had a 2-run lead, 2 triples and a walk from the first 5 batters. And then it's been all Glenelg ever since. So an arm wrestle between the 2 pitchers. Hey, just quickly, thanks to MC Sportswear around the Diamonds, West Torrens scored 8 in the 5th to blow it out to 10-0. So West Torrens 3 outs away from a run rule victory on Diamond 2.
What's the Steph Trzynski report you've got for us?
She came out of the game. She threw 4 innings, no hits, 6 strikeouts.
Any walks?
No walks.
So she was perfect through 4. It's gonna be hard to win if your opposition pitcher's doing that to you.
Yeah, perfect through 4, and then the first batter of the new pitcher, Georgia King, hits a single. So, yeah, not bad from Steph Trzynski tonight, because she also had a hit and an RBI as well.
Jade Peterson up to bat. She has been a big reason for this Glenelg comeback from 2 runs down to taking a 3-2 lead. She sat down 10 in a row in the circle. She has 8 strikeouts. 2 times she struck out the side. 0 for 1 at the plate. Now 0 for 2 as Diaz trying to get back in a groove.
Yeah, good off-speed pitch there. Good break by Diaz. Well called by Lynn. It's that time of the game, and this is where you said before about Fairley getting that walk. It's this bottom part of the order of the Rebels. Tigers got to make sure they hold them to account here and not let the top of the lineup come back with runners on.
Haven't heard it from you yet tonight, Eric. About a 7-8-9.
7-8-9, get it done. That's how games are won. Well, there's 8 getting the hit and a base runner from the bottom of the lineup again.
Any way you can get on in a 1-run game, it's always going to be a bonus. Just nick to the knee of the Glenelg Rebels. Anthony, you trying to get my attention?
That'll bring Charlotte Fairley to the plate. Had the walk and then some heads-up base running as a courtesy runner. Lays down the bunt, drops in front, and they're gonna let it drop, and now it's a bunt single for Charlotte Fairley. And the bottom of this Rebels lineup is causing chaos again.
Have a look at all the Seacombe players converge on this ball on the CMAX replay. They thought, let it spin back. That back spin that you normally get on a bunt, and it just stopped. Perfectly executed from Charlotte Fairley.
Well, now Sydney Horton. She's 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, see the Glenelg Rebels lineup now. This is their third look at Diaz.
Third time through. Seen some coaches in the Premier League this year make some pitching changes when they go through that second, third time. More so than other years, I think, that I can remember. Teams are using a few pitchers. Smacked over to right field, but it's high up in the air. To the glove of Rosa Vergara. There's 2 down.
Kept tentering with the infield fly call.
Yeah, Vergara just makes sure that none of the runners can advance, completes the catch. So that's the important part of it, isn't it? Infield fly might be an automatic out for the batter, but you know, you make a mistake in the field, it still could cost you a base. 2 out.
It's popped up in the air. Bree McGee. Called back up to the Premier League side. Trying to service a few injuries for the Rebels. Also had departures at the beginning of the season. You think Megan Wheatley, who'd been a key part of this team, has moved overseas. So some regular players, even in that respect, not part of the squad right now.
Good recovery by Lint there. Yeah, 100%. I spoke to Courtney Shepherd before the game. She's hopeful that she'll be ready for Friday night's big game against the Hills in the CFS round. You would expect Yo Grau's going to be there as well. So they've got at least 2 big ins coming in this week.
Yeah, that'd be a big plus for the Rebels if Grauer makes herself available for Friday night. Yeah,
well, the question is if it's a wrist injury to Shepherd, whether or not she would catch. Obviously, Courtney's one of their best hitters as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that. Obviously, tonight being a big game, and she's on the bench tonight. So,
well, there's a big strikeout from Diaz. Strands a couple runners. Keeps it a 3-2 game. But I was just going to ask, how much does the impact of this game have on lineup decisions for Glenelg on the weekend? Because if Glenelg win, they're almost clinched. It would mean that Seacombe would have to win out, Glenelg would have to lose out, and Seacombe would have to allow 35 or 40 more runs than Glenelg this year. So they'll all but be in the finals if they win this game. Maybe that allows you to relax a bit more. But if they lose, Seacombe go on a bit of a run, don't have a lot of injuries. I mean, if they lose, do you then say, hey, you got to bring in Grauer and just put the nail in the coffin?
It's too much to come back from. That runs against. After tonight, Glenelg will only have 3 games left to go for the season. So, what is it, 27 runs is the run differential for runs against between these 2 teams. It's too much to make up. They would need, Seacombe would need Port Adelaide. Who else Glenelg got? Glenelg got Port Adelaide and Walkerville and the Hills Heat to put 10 runs a game on Glenelg and then be lights out.
Yeah, if Glenelg lose, though, at least it opens up a window.
Right.
A small window. So if they lose, is that where you kind of force Shepherd into the lineup and say, we just got to play you, just to nail down that final spot?
Vergara tries something different.
I like it.
Yeah.
You have to do something different and mix up. That's the first base runner they've had since, well, it feels like last year, but it was the first inning.
It was the first inning, and a running bunt. What do you reckon? Safe on the play?
Yeah, the thing with what Rosa just did there, which was excellent, obviously, was that if you're going to pull a surprise play such as that, you have to be able to execute it, and that's what she's done, and that's what's made it happen. And the danger now for the Rebels is that Titmus, you would expect, has the opportunity to play short here as well, which is part of her game, very much within her wheelhouse, and create some more chaos. So opportunity for Seacombe here.
There, Titmus trying to mix things up here. The tying run is aboard.
So not trying to be aggressive there in the sense that I think Coach Benedictson used that pitch there just to have a look, to see what the defence was doing.
Sorry, guys, I was just getting interrupted from Lana Kayser. She also swings the Eastern Ghost, I just might add. 10-0 win for West Torrens. Did anyone announce Georgia Tompkinson as the courtesy runner?
No, but you just did. So thank you.
No worries.
So Glenelg have now playing short, so Chappelle's halfway up the line. Bevan's also moving up. So this is the opportunity for Titmus to now play the short game, not just on the bunt, but now maybe a slap or push the ball into a hole.
Well, do you like to put the ball in play for a bunt, even knowing that your opposition hasn't really played in this defensive configuration much this year? Just put some pressure and test them out.
The reason Rosa got on was through a wild throw and a play at the plate, so that's absolutely what you want to try and do, create some chaos on the infield.
Well, now there are 2 runners on and no outs.
Was that a 4-pitch walk?
Mm-hmm.
So
it doesn't happen much.
The pressure, the left-handed batter, the runner on, you guarantee that there was going to be a short game.
She closed the plate up too, so that was good thinking. So Schumacher will do the same here. So she'll be bunting the whole time. She's just got to make sure she's at the top of the zone.
First pitch, bunt, 1 out. Can they get 2? Throw down the line. It's a double play.
Happen.
Wow, I was just going to say, as long as it wasn't a triple play, it was going to bring Regan Diaz to the plate, thinking, it won't even be a double.
Well, Lee Hole would be turning right now. Oh my goodness! He always said, "Never bunt on the first pitch." First pitch is what he always said because of that. Now, there's different schools of thought. I think you can pinch a bunt on the first pitch.
Yeah,
however,
you know what else he'd be saying right now?
Repeat of your earlier message.
No, he'd be saying put her on.
Yeah.
Regan Diaz coming up to bat. She hit that triple in the first inning.
He would be saying exactly that. He would have been saying put her on even if they executed the bunt, the sacrifice, and there you go.
I didn't think it was going to happen. I looked down at my card and I thought, surely not. But, yeah, the call came.
Wow, so the bunt double play has backfired here for the Tigers. It's those little moments. Grounded over to second. And it gets through. Runner, play at the plate, tie game. A bit of chaos ball here at West Beach.
Well, you were just saying before, Eric, about how the defensive configuration is completely different for the Rebels, and so that's a tough ask for a young player such as Charlotte to come into a situation like that. Coach Brinkworth is coming out to ask a question.
Yeah, going to state umpire and Chief Steve Wallace-Yarrow as well. Mutsi getting the high fives from the coach at first base because she's brought in that tying run.
Well, take a look at the CMAX replay. Is she asking about potential interference?
Ran straight in front of the fielder. So it's a valid question, you'd think, coming from the coach. Was nowhere near the fielder, but did cross the path of the fielder who was fielding the ball.
And almost went a bit to her left to try to avoid. Either way,
she did enough, didn't she?
Pressure has tied this game. Nothing was hit out of the infield until now, and now look at Diaz fly home. Seacombe retake the lead. Brianne Lint crunches one to left, and Diaz got moving quickly.
Here's the CMAX replay. Diaz not even in screen there. She was that quick to third. She's not done yet. She's come back into the game as a courtesy runner for the catcher.
That is a big time run. It's a 4-3 game, and before that, nothing hit out of the infield. There was the bunt single, then there was the walk, then they laid down a bunt, then an intentional base on balls, and the error, and now the hit.
These two teams are going blow for blow. They both have looked out at this game at a time during this match, and they've just come back and they've just fought hard. They've been able to play some good softball as well, and their players have all dug deep and come up clutch in clutch moments.
Havis to right field. Penglay's charging on it, drops in. Another run will score. Havis with an RBI. It's a 3-run inning for Seacombe.
Another run crosses the plate. Havis arrives safely at first, so it's still difficult for Glenelg. Here's the CMAX replay, because there's going to be runners at the corners now, Anthony, with 2 out.
And the issue, of course, now is that all of these situations have brought the heart of Seacombe's lineup, and now you've got the power hitter Eriksson to the plate, Munro to follow.
Every run of this game has been scored with 2 outs.
Gee, you've nailed a great stat right there, Eric.
And Emily Eriksson, like you said, whether she's been playing well.
Well, Jay got her on 3 up balls in her last at bat, so hopefully she can just realign the radar a little bit and move up the front, keep her hands up. She's just got to put bat on ball here, and that's going to do enough.
You put it right on. She needed to swing for a team then, and 3 up balls, make it 6 up balls in a row for Eriksson for 2 strikeouts. But gee, Seacombe, 3 runs in that inning.
We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. There's still plenty of time. I think it'll be a 6-inning game the way we're tracking. No new innings after 9:25 locally. It's 9:09 right now.
Just mentioning before about our special guest commentator on the weekend, Jessica Maslin. She talked about, just in the comments, how it would be great if the CFS round was complete on the Saturday as well. The good news, Jess, is that the CFS round is on Saturday down here at ASA. We've got posters up down here. We'll obviously be doing a barbecue here at the grounds, and obviously all of the money that's going to be raised from that will be going directly to the CFS. So the posters at West Beach have got a barcode that you can scan, and that'll take you directly through to their link. So
yeah, supporting the CFS Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all for. So obviously down here in Adelaide, I mean, lots of us live up in the hills, and the CFS do great work for a lot of people in South Australia, and we need to make sure that we can support them. And so down here in Adelaide on the Saturday, we'll be doing our bit as well.
Well, can Georgia Bevan spark the Glenelg Rebels again? We know, we've mentioned it earlier in the call, that they're a fast finishing team. A strong finishing team.
They have been the comeback queens all season long. Stung Port Adelaide just a couple weeks ago.
Yep, now they're going to have to do it with some Warriors out. So really big test here for the Rebels.
All but 2 players has been on base today for the Rebels. They found ways.
I'd be interested to see if we get any of the Rebels runners on, whether or not Coach Brinkworth will go to the bench and risk Shepherd for an at-bat in a clutch situation here at the game.
Well, CFS round's only 2 nights away,
and
so
you
said that she's trying to get back for that game?
Yeah, so
she's got to be close then.
She's got to be close, but the question is, like, if you get runners at 2 and 3 and you're 2 out, do you go to somebody that's batting 300 plus and goes into the 400s when you're got runners on?
I think yes.
They're the questions you have to make as a coach at this time.
Ooh, Bevan was halfway down to first base. She's got to set herself up again because it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's a good one here. in the CMAX Premier League. 5-3. There's been a few lead changes. Bevan up the middle. It's knocked down by Vergara. She can't make a play. And a lead-off runner, Bruin, for Glenelg.
Yeah, it goes up the middle. Vergara has to break to a backhand side. We can see red coming from the left of us. The two ladies doing the scoring tonight is Jill Williams sitting under her pavilion and Kay Bendel. See the red pen. So error charge to Vergara. But key for Glenelg is that their lead-off's aboard. And here's the RBI hitter, Penglace.
She had 2 of them in her last at-bat with 2 outs. Now she's just got to get on. Loopy pitch up against the fence. Bree Lint has a look.
Yeah, Sasha probably doesn't get the luxury here of playing short in the sense that they're chasing too late. Depending on where you are in the lineup would dictate whether or not what part of the risk you would take to do that. But in this particular case, Sasha's been a solid contact hitter. You'd have to roll the dice and let her bat.
And look, there's a ball on the Jill Williams pavilion.
Well, foul ball hit hard from Penglace. That's why it was suggested by Jill Williams herself to have a little bit of cover. So perhaps sun and protection from foul balls as well. And
so she's got the Jill Williams pavilion, and if she didn't have that, she might have had a memorial bench because that ball was had eyes for Jill.
Just a heads up, that play at second base, they've made a change. Rosa Vergara's come out and Georgia Tompkinson's come in.
Right. So that wasn't charged to Vergara. That was Georgia Tompkinson. So she stayed in the game.
Yeah, apparently just got word from the boss.
It was a good pickup. Then we missed that when the change came through the umpires.
I'm just watching Shepherd stretching, but just interested to see how that plays out.
I mean, if you ever play mind games like that as a coach, if you have an injured player on the bench, you don't know if they're going to play, be like, hey, just go out there, stretch, make it look like you're coming in there.
100%. We've all done it.
Get them thinking about something.
Yeah.
Well, now it gets fascinating.
That's not necessarily going to hurt Seacombe in the sense of, from a contact perspective, Diaz has done a good job tonight with Kinnear at the plate and Chappelle behind. So
you're bunting here?
Now, yeah, there's an argument to do it now, I would think.
On the first pitch?
If you can get it done right, any pitch.
Here is the bunt. It's in the air, it's on the ground. And there's a well-executed bunt from Sophie Kinnear. She does her job, puts 2 runners in scoring position, and it'll give Lucy Chappelle and Jade Peterson a couple cracks at it to tie this game.
Yeah,
well,
Anthony, that was your formula, wasn't it? The runners at 1 and 2 with none out?
No, that trademark is Linda Martin's. That's a runners at 1 and 2, no matter who's in the lineup, where you are in the game, you do it. And 9 times out of 10, it comes back and pays dividends.
Well, now you've got to rely on your 6, 7, 8, 9 batters to bring those 2 runners in, though. But
as Linda would say, you're also now putting pressure on the pitcher because obviously if anything spills at the plate, costs a run, changes their dynamic, and a single from anybody here scores 2.
I do like that scenario. I call out a baseball with Scott Pratt, and he always says that. You got to play to the situation, not the player in that situation.
And for all my creation of theatre in hoping that Courtney Shepherd might come in for the heroic walk-off, her jacket's still on. So put that one to bed.
Well, it's Lucy Chappelle who has returned to the CMAX Premier League. Playing some lower divisions right now. Injuries have called, and Chappelle, a former state team player from a couple moons ago. Wouldn't this be a storybook? He's in foul territory, charging on his lint, and it just buckles up against the Bell White fence. 2 strikes.
I can still see her image buried into that gate. That catch that she took at the 2022 Gilly Shield.
When she retires, we got to get the shadow painted of that on her there.
Silhouette?
Absolutely. Well, Chappelle now with a 2-2 count. You know, police outline, yeah. Here we go. Chappelle, oh, she saw that pretty well. She almost barreled that down the line.
Well, I mean, the thing going in the Rebels' favour at the moment is they wouldn't have a lot of charting history on Lucy Chappelle and what she likes and what she doesn't. So this is purely just making the assessment of where she's standing, where her hands are, play the situation, back your pitcher in here.
And she cracks one to the left side. She scored 1 run. They'll hold up the runner, but Lucy Chappelle, back in the Premier League, has driven in a run, cuts the lead in half. How about this?
And that's just contact hitting, you know. She hasn't swung back heavy on that. That's just a great piece of, you know, an experienced player putting the bat on ball when it mattered most. So that's what experience brings you, not getting overawed in the situation. And here come the Rebels.
Timeout called from Coach Benedictson. Both teams having a bit of a chat. There's runners at the corners for Glenelg and Seacombe, knowing the time they could go another inning. It's just 20 past the hour, so they need to get 2 quick outs to get another shot at this. Otherwise, they hold up time and they play tight defense. It's anyone's game.
Now, when did Chappelle last play in the Premier League?
It was some time ago, but as the boss has just pointed out, she used to play for Seacombe. So interesting.
Unbelievable story, though, coming in here. And that was just a great at-bat. Take pitches, see pitches, foul them away, see pitch, drive pitch, score, run.
And take nothing away from Jade here, too. I've seen Jade do this so many times where she has done that. You can see that right field's come right in, centre field's come right in, left field's come right in. So Tigers here defending the run.
Well, it's an important one because the time is going to become a factor. There's 6 minutes before no new innings. We're in the bottom of the 5th. There's only 1 out on the board right now. You string together a few hits here and things start to get hairy.
Well, the game's in Glenelg's favour if they complete the time, if they break that 20.
Knocked to the right side. They flip for 1. Can they turn 2? No!
What a great play by Georgia Tonkinson. That is outstanding.
Meanwhile, though, the run has scored. That was how important that out at first would have been. It would have been an inning-ending double play. But Peterson hustles down the line, gets there just in time, and this game's tied.
For a young player, just come back from the state under 18s, you know, she's stayed low and done the backhand to make sure that Mutsi's got an opportunity to try and make something happen there.
She made a good throw too.
Yeah, so that was just all round really good softball by a couple of Seacombe's young players.
Pitcher speed up as well. Georgia Bevan's coming to run for Jade Peterson.
Also good hustle from Jade Peterson, who probably didn't exactly have what she wanted.
Bang, bang play on the CMAX replay. And if you want to help Advance Rose Healthcare and get paid for your time, log on to cmax.com.au.
Walk up right down the line. Munro snags it, steps on the bag. We are tied at 5 going into the 6th and what will be the final inning of this game. And what a game it has been. It was 2-0 early for Seacombe. You think all the way back to that 2 RBI triple that Emily Erickson had, and then the pitchers started exchanging blows. Nobody could get a base runner, it felt like, until out of nowhere, Charlotte Fairley works a walk. A single from Sydney Horton set up eventually the Sasha Penglay's RBI double to tie the game. The wild pitch took the lead for Glenelg, and Jade Peterson was rolling. She was looking untouchable, and then out of nowhere, it was a leadoff walk that started the craze for the Rebels, or the Tigers rather. They scored 3 runs in the 5th inning, and it was a messy inning back in the 5th, wasn't it? There was RBIs eventually. Becky Havis had one. There was an error that cashed in a run. Either way, some walks and free bases off bunts, and I don't know. It was a wacky fifth inning. 3 runs scored by Seacombe, gave him a 5-3 lead, and then Glenelg just responded with 2. It's been a fun one tonight.
It certainly has, and this final innings, as Munro just fouls off behind us on the first pitch there. The interesting part is where they are in the lineup for this. So Munro, Tompkinson, who hasn't had an at-bat in this game yet, so she's going to come in fresh against a Jade Peterson that's been there all night. But the Rebels, on the other hand, fairly leads off for them, and then 1-2 come back. So they'll be coming through the top of their line. So this one's not over, so don't tune out just yet.
Fairley's not got out today, has she?
Well, I was thinking of that. As you were doing your review of where we stand right now, I was thinking, who is our CMAX player of the game? Horton has been important, Diaz has been important, but Fairley, a walk and a bunt, you know, has been pretty important for Glenelg, helped them get their momentum started as well. But yeah, Lucy's, Chappelle's clutch hit brought in a run. Penglace's had a couple of clutch at-bats. And then Peterson, that's our 10th for the game.
There's an important lead-off out. That takes away the short game for Benedictson in the sense that now a base runner he really can't sort of sacrifice just to try and chase the one. So the lead-off out is always really important. And now Tompkinson comes in and she's got to face Jade Peterson for the first time tonight.
Jade Peterson has an RBI. It was on that nearly turned double play, but she hustled down the line to tie the game. Game of inches, literally exemplified here tonight. Tompkinson. Peterson's got her in an 0-2 count. Both these teams have been plucky tonight. Both these teams have had to draw deep into the depths of their club. A club effort for both teams.
Yep.
Good discipline by Tompkinson there. Behind in the count, Peterson went straight up out of the zone and she stayed off of it.
Relatively cold night, but the action has been red hot.
It sure has.
And we're going to get up to 30 again over the weekend. Is that right?
Correct.
Bring on that warm weather.
Swing and a miss, Jade Peterson. 11 punchies tonight.
96 for the season.
And none of those runs scored in the 5th inning would have been earned runs, would they?
No, I got red.
Maybe she's the player of the game if Glenelg win.
Yeah, 2 earned runs from the first 3 batters of the game that scored on Ericsson's triple.
Then
and
she went.
Since then, she has thrown her 9, 10, 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, well, then she went strikeout, 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 strikeout. She went a 1-2-3 inning, none of them strikeouts, and then she struck out the side a second time. And then even that big inning, nothing was hit hard. It was the bunt single, then another bunt, and then another bunt, and then the intentional walk, an error on second, and then 2 hits.
Yeah.
So Peterson's going to make sure that she has one of the next 2 outs, because the important thing in here is obviously she's got them at 2 out now. Schumacher coming at 9, but then you go back to Diaz, who started the game with a triple at 1, and you open yourself to the top of the lineup. So
don't give Diaz a chance.
No walks here. You've got to attack these 2 batters.
It's a dozen for Jade Peterson. An unbelievable effort. She strikes out the side for the 3rd time today. Jade Peterson grooving.
CMAX replay. That's an unreal effort from Jade Peterson. 3 innings where she struck out 3 batters in a row as well. So it wasn't that she struck out the side, you know, and gave up a walk.
1-2-3 inning, yeah.
1-2-3 inning, 3 times for 3 strikeouts and 12, as you said, for the game to go to 97 for the season. And you just can't keep your bat on your shoulder against Jade Peterson. She throws a high strike count and, you know, rarely throws a walk I think she's got one of the highest strikeout to walk ratios in the league.
Well, there are only 2 outcomes now in this game. It's either going to end in a draw if Glenelg cannot score this inning, or a Glenelg walk-off, and that'll all but seal up a finals spot for the Rebels.
Well, you said 10 minutes ago, James, that it was advantage Glenelg, and it's advantage Glenelg now because their number 9 comes to the plate in Fairley, who's had a good night in getting on base, and then it's the top of their line, and Horton is in the on-deck circle, and she's swinging left-handed.
You want to talk about the depth of Glenelg on a night where a lot of their stars are hurt. One's up in the Riverland. 9 players in the lineup from all different ages, eras. They've all reached. Every single player in the Glenelg lineup has been on base in some way, shape, or form tonight.
Yeah, Diaz has got to attack Fairley here. Can't let the Rebels lead off get on.
Fairley went chasing. And a big strikeout and a little hop from Regan Diaz, 1 down.
So that, again, same thing for the Rebels. It takes away their short game opportunity now. The reality is they know they only have to score the 1, whereas at least Seacombe, we're trying to engineer something to start. So Horton has her first opportunity on the right side of the plate now.
Strike.
Very tense down here at the moment. Everybody's just hanging on every pitch. And Diaz has got what she wants. She's now 2-0 in front in the count. Horton's switch of sides to try and get a little bit closer to first base. Try and give Diaz a different look. Now she's going to have to work twice as hard. Diaz has now got 3 to play with.
2 hits on the night for Horton. Grounded to third. Havis. The ball got away, and the winning run's aboard.
Yeah, she read it well off the bat, Havis at third base, and then maybe had to hold up her throw a little bit as she watches first base, and then really gives Araha Munro a tough one to pick up low to the ground. Horton beats it out.
Bree McGee. Bevan follows. We are at that 1-pitch warning, though, in this game. Swing of the bat can win it. A ground ball could potentially end it. Pitch up high. McGee, one of those depth players now in the club after not playing Premier League this season. Called back up for this game. McGee up the middle. Horton slides in safely at 2, and there's a runner in scoring position.
Well, she was almost going to be unlikely, but she just hit that one up the middle like a veteran, and Horton slides into 2 safely, so that winning run is now in scoring position.
The comeback queens, Glenelg, have been down 2 runs, not once, but twice in this game. They've erased the deficits both times. They can win it here.
Where's Courtney Shepherd?
Still in her jacket. I've been watching the Glenelg bench with great intent, but I don't think we're going to get that Cinderella story. But as I said before, we're at 3 and 4 in the lineup here for the Rebels to get it done. Horton's taking a fairly significant jump here at second.
Bevan Penglace with the ability and capabilities to get this job done, but Diaz here really trying to hold on tight. Is a draw going to feel like a win for either of these teams tonight?
It's going to hurt one team more than the other. I think the Rebels just need to take that Lucy Chappelle approach from the innings earlier. She didn't follow through with the swing. It was contact. It was putting the ball into a space, and that's what McGee's done. Bevan doing a great job here of taking Diaz to the edge. Now Diaz 3-1 down, has to come back and throw something that she can hit.
Gee, you wouldn't want to play a final against Glenelg, go deep into the game, and they'll be down by 1 or 2. They'd be favourites going into any game, you'd think,
yeah,
in that situation.
100%. And the scary thing is they got 5 starters out, and we're here. So that just shows the great work that Coach Brinkworth has done with this team.
Yeah, depth.
Full count now.
Knock to the right side. It drops in front and gets through. Will that send the winning run? Horton, play at the plate. The comeback queen strike again.
Unbelievable.
A Glenelg walk-off, and it all but secures a spot in the finals. And depth comes through for Glenelg.
Well, the final score shows 6-5. Horton actually stopped at 3 to have a look to see where the ball travelled. It didn't go deep into the outfield, and she saw the ball on the ground and took off for home. Scored the winning run, and gee, Georgia Bevans, here we go in the CMAX replay, single to the right side, perfect placement, inside out hitting, and just short of Tompkinson, and then must have taken a bad spin because it got away from the second base player.
Yeah, and then obviously Horton, once she's knows that there's no chance of a fly out or anything like that, she scampered home and got the win. So, yeah, like, just that's the Rebels' new MO. That's what they're now known for, is that ability to just never give it away.
I feel like they're that, you know, that scene in Austin Powers where the guy falls down the cliff and he just won't go away, and Austin Powers is just yelling, "Why won't you die?" That's what the Glenelg Rebels are. They just do not get killed in this game. They are the never die Rebels.
I don't know the stat for it. I might have to look into it. How many times have they stolen a game in the last inning?
Yeah, it'd be worth it.
Well, it's 2 walk-offs in 2 weeks.
That's, yeah.
And it's not, and they're not the first 2 of the year either.
No.
We've got to talk about CMAX Player of the Game before we close off for the night. And also talk about CFS round, which is this Friday night from Anembo Park. The coverage starts at 6 with the men's game as the curtain raiser, Hahndorf Magpies versus the Macclesfield Redbacks. That should be a big clash. And then, of course, there's, thank you, producer Brandon, CFS round. Scan the QR code and donate to the CFS Foundation. It's the second, and we think, annual CFS round, supporting emergency services workers and those that have died in the line of duty. But CMAX Player of the Game, did that give you guys enough time to come up with your player?
Yeah, I think I have a shoe-in for me, and it's got to be Jade Peterson. The 12 strikeouts, only the 2 earned runs, and they both came in the first 4 batters of the game. She was the only reason Glenelg was able to come back in the game is because they had somebody in the circle who could keep the score low and gettable for the comeback queens to make their move. So for me, it's Jade Peterson. It was a balanced attack from the Rebels, though. Every player reached base. There was a different hero every inning. It was cool, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah. Words out of my mouth there, Eric. She was my player of the game. Shout out to Diaz, though. That was a really mighty effort. Go the distance and score that opening run, and ran the bases well and fielded well from Seacombe. So she did a good job there. But that's a really good team performance, and Glenelg will take a lot of confidence into the big game on Friday night.
Well, they not only does that win almost guarantee them a top 4 finish, it'll be a miracle, you'd say, from here for Seacombe to overtake them. They moved to 25 points, 1 point behind Sturt on 26. West Torrens win tonight. They go into second place, if you don't mind, on 27 points. And they're only 5 points behind ladder leaders Port Adelaide, who are on 30. So that
they can move up here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This top 4, I don't think you'd take a brave person to pick a winner out of that right now.
Yeah, 100%. This Saturday, after the CFS round on Friday night, we can carry that CFS on CFS ran down here in Adelaide, where we're going to have that supporters barbecue, as I said, with all the proceeds going towards the CFS Foundation. Seacombe again on the TV at 3 p.m. against the Walkerville Cats. And Erin Adams McDonald from the Hills and the superstar from Port Adelaide, Jessica Maslin, joining me on commentary.
Should be huge, and we'll be back next Wednesday night as well. So plenty of softball, a big week of softball, and thanks to Spacequake Sports for bringing you the best softball broadcast in the country. Thank you to MC Sportswear and, of course, Eastern, as well as CMAX Clinical Research.
That's all I got too.
Good to have you back, Eric.
I'll see you regularly from here to the end of
in about a week, and then regularly for the rest of the season. Well, thank you, Eric, and thank you, Anthony, and we'll say good night.